Do you know the fastest growing population of college students? According to James Bardolph and Henry Levin from Eric's Digest, there are 6.7 million older students called non-traditional or midlife students in colleges today, which means actually that 1/3 to 1/2 of the student population is non-traditional students. Over 50% of the graduates these days are 30 years or older. Non-traditional students are also called midlife students. We're older students who have either never been in class before or who have returned to the classroom to either get a college education or to finish our education. There are several fields that are the traditional fields for non-traditional students. According to the Lumina Foundation for Education, the top fields are management, business, and marketing, arts, social services, and humanities, and education. Now that we have statistics on all the traditional students, let's talk about the reasons that people come back to school. There are several different reasons that an older student chooses to return to the classroom. One is to advance your current career. People that are in a job who are looking for a promotion or to climb up the career ladder often come back to school to get the education to encourage them to do so. Many other people, like myself, who have either been downsized in the current economy or who are burnt out with the job that they are, come back to school to train for a new or a different career. Sometimes it's in or similar to the field that they were in before, and sometimes it's something totally different entirely. For others, they simply want to resume a previous college experience. They had been in college, had dropped out for various personal reasons, or they decided to take a break between high school and college, and they now want to get the college experience that they didn't or barely started before. And there are some that simply come back to learn something new. They've decided that they want to, learn about the world, or they are bored, or there's many various reasons, so they come back to learn something new. I know for myself, as I said, I was downsized, so that is one of the reasons I chose to come back. I came back to train for a career that's similar to the field that I worked in, but not exactly the same. I have personally heard professors say that there are certain characteristics that tend to go through all of older students. And in talking to various professors, they seem to hold true. Characteristics of non-traditional students include being achievement-oriented and highly motivated. We are very driven to do well in our classes, and we'll go the extra mile to make it work for us. We have an increased need for flexible scheduling. Most of us have lives like everybody else outside of school, but in our cases, our lives include families. Many of us have jobs, other responsibilities, and we need to try to fit the classroom experience around that instead of making our entire life about that. So therefore, we look for classes for evenings, weekends, internet, anything that will make it easier for us to continue our education. We value an active approach to learning. We are into being in the classroom. We like the classroom experience. We like what we're getting from our knowledge, and we're interested in learning. We want to integrate our academic education with our life experience. We try to make them mesh. We try to also help younger students understand what we have learned in life experience to help them along their path. It is important to integrate the things that you've learned, not just in the textbook, but through going through life and make it work for everybody. There are problems that come with an older student. They're not unique to us. They also come along with older students, younger students, but they're even more so than comes for an older student. And there are services that would be helpful to us to make it easier for us. Increased selection for weekend and evening classes, that is a biggie. As I said, it's very hard to fit sometimes classes around the rest of our schedules. If we could go to class on weekends, if there were more selections of classes on weekends, if you could come home from work and go to school in your pajamas at 10 o'clock at night, why the internet classes are such a major plus as far as I'm concerned for older students. Help with special needs and financial aid, orientation, and advisement. Older students aren't sure what we need to take. Coming back to school is overwhelming for us. We need advisement in how to best pick the courses, how to best schedule them. We need advisement with financial aid because for us, financial aid is even more important. It makes it easier for us to afford being able to go to school. Otherwise, with jobs and family responsibilities, many times we can't get there. We need more training for those that are not technologically up to date. The biggest fear a lot of older students have is the technology that's used today. We're not up to date on it, but we can come back and be taught how to use the computers, the PowerPoint, etc. It makes it much less scary for us. And sensitivity training to the staff so they understand what the nature of our problems are. According to the National Center for Education, we are one of the biggest growing populations in the school today. From the year 2005 to 2017, the older student in college will be increasing by 19%. We're here, we're not going anywhere. I hope that younger students keep in mind that we are here and greet us with an open mind, not be leery of us, and be willing to have a good exchange of ideas with us. Thank you very much for your time. Questions? Yes, please.
Did you see the movie with Rodney Dangerfield?
No, I've not had the pleasure of seeing that one. I have to look into seeing that one. Yes.
What other issues do you think other than technology?
Child care is probably the biggest. There are a lot of women who would, and men, who are single parents who would love to come back to school but don't have the affordability to pay for child care on top of full tuition, or don't have easy access. It's very, very hard to get child care on the weekend or in the evening. So increased child care would be a huge plus for a lot of students. Again, thank you.